Hi Capricorn, welcome back to the Astrology 33 channel. This is your August 2022 love reading. Thank you to those of you who have liked, viewed, shared, and subscribed to the channel. I appreciate all of that. And for those of you new to the channel, as far as what we have in front of us, it's what I call the bridge and gap spread. And the way it works is to look at the past energies, present energies, and future energies between you and the main love interest. Once we get through all that, we'll pull some oracle cards with some additional insight. That's where the bridge and gap dynamic comes into play. And as far as the decks being used, on the left side we have the Lover's Path Tarot, on the right side we have the Cosmic Tarot. And keep in mind it's a general reading, so I'm going to be referring to the cards on the left as your energy and the cards on the right as the other person's. If you feel like it's the other way around in your situation, then definitely trust that. Alright, so with all that out of the way, we'll get started. Past energy on your side, we have the Ten of Cups. So this is a Pisces energy here, and what I feel like this is saying, for the most part, is that you guys might have had a really idealized vision, excuse me, of what the connection would be between the two of you. So I feel like this is saying that, you might have just felt that instant attraction, right, and maybe started to visualize the connection between the two of you. But as far as whether or not you acted on it or not, that seems to be a bit up in the air. But I feel like for the majority of you, you did at least communicate somewhat to this person about your feelings. All right, in the past situation on their side, we have the Five of Swords. So this is Aquarius energy here, and it looks like could just be saying that they were going through a healing process. I don't really feel like this was anything related to you from what I'm feeling here. It feels like this was just something that they were already dealing with when you guys might have linked up. So I feel like this is what they were going through, and then that would explain why they might not have been as open compared to your energy in the past. All right, present energy on your side, we have the Prince of Coins. So this is actually the court card that represents Virgo energy. And so for some of you, could just be saying that as we move toward Virgo season, you could be looking at things from a more practical standpoint, right? Like that's a bit more of a dreamy type idealized vision. And then this is the, okay, well, how to actually turn this into something tangible, right? So for some of you, could just be considering possibly trying to turn it into something more formal between the two of you. And present energy on their side, we have the Nine of Swords. So this is Gemini energy here, and if nothing else, this would say to me that this person still feels a bit overwhelmed, right? So again, I really, especially because we see the back turned to the cards on this side too, so I feel like this is not even related to you directly, but it's just one of those things where if they're going through that healing process, right, and let's say you do say, hey, I want something, can we go out on a date or something like that, right? That might just seem like it's overwhelming to this person because they still haven't fully healed from what they were dealing with in the past. So it could just be a timing issue in that regard. All right. Future energy on your side, we have the Five of Staves. So this is Leo energy here, usually an energy representing competition. But what stands out to me in the artwork here is, if we look at their facial expressions, it doesn't look all that intense, right? It looks like the masculine energy seemed to be a bit more playful. Now she looks a little more serious, right? So could just be saying that, let's say you just finally decide, okay, I can't necessarily figure out what the best way to approach this person is. So you might come across and say something that to you is just being playful and flirty, but because this person's going through what they're going through, right, it might go off the rails a little bit. I would say definitely just watch out for this energy around the full moon in Aquarius time, because there's going to be some intense energies around that full moon. So I could picture something like that happening there, where like you could go in with a certain intention and it just goes totally the wrong way. All right, and future energy on their side, we have the Three of Swords, Libra energy, and the Queen of Pentacles. Now, Queen of Pentacles energy is typically Capricorn energy, actually, interestingly enough, but in this deck in particular, it's actually Virgo energy. So there could be some significance there on two levels. What I mean by that is I feel like the Three of Swords, especially if you look at the artwork here, right, it looks like they're finally putting it to rest, right, almost as like a funeral type vibe. So I feel like this is saying that they're finally going to put that healing behind them, and then at that point, they'll be ready to be more open to the connection at that point. Now, so why I say this is interesting layers, because traditionally this is a card for Capricorn, so it could just be saying that that's the approach that they would have toward you, being open to being in a connection toward you. And then timing wise, this could also be pointing to Virgo season, since in this particular deck it's a Virgo card. So So I don't think it's going to be a really long, drawn out thing before this person is more open, but at the very least, I would say early in August, just be on the lookout for that, especially if you just feel that energy from them where you're like, it seems like they're really standoffish. I don't feel like it's something you would have to take personally necessarily. I know it's easier said than done, right? But if you pick up on that energy from them, just keep in mind that, okay, you know what, let me ride this out a little bit, give them a little bit of space, right? And like I said, as we get closer to Virgo season, it looks like they're going to be opening up for sure, finally putting that past behind them. All right. Bottom of the deck on your side, we have the Prince of Staves. So this is Sagittarius energy here. So yeah, could just be saying that deep down you've wanted to take action toward the connection, right? Because for you guys, Sagittarius energy is your 12th house. So it could be one of those things where you had the idea to do it, the passion to do it, but then actually taking the action might have been a bit of a difficulty, right? So that's what I see with that. And then, like I said, it looks like when you finally already take the action, it looks like they're still going through a bit of healing. So timing could definitely be a bit of an issue, but just for this month, I feel. All right, and bottom of the deck on their side, we have the Princess of Cups. So this is the equivalent of the Page of Cups. So yeah, again, that's like a youthful energy. So yeah, I feel like you just need to just let them go through the healing process, and then once they get through that, they'll be more open for sure. But we'll see what the Oracle cards add to the mix. First, we'll see what we get from the Aqua Moonlight deck here. I did pre-shuffle this deck before we started recording. And what I'm going to be looking for here is unspoken messages from you to them and from them to you. And initially, I'll be looking for jumpers, but if I shuffle for a while and allow anything coming up, then I'll actually just put the deck down and pull cards that way. So let's see what we get. All right, and this does want to go back in the deck, and let's see what we get from them to you. All right, and that does want to go back in the deck. So on your side, we have Gesture. It says, I'm going to come sweep you away. So yeah, like I said, it looks like for a while you spent the time just envisioning the connection between the two of you. That Prince of Coins looked like more of an energy of you actually being ready to take some tangible action toward it. So, I mean, that does seem to line with the messaging, but like I said, just be mindful that this person could just be like really frazzled right now. So anything could just overwhelm them at this point. Let's see what their message says actually. Okay. Jealousy says, I feel like you've moved on without me, and that's difficult for me to see. Interesting. So I didn't necessarily feel like you guys had a history with each other, but I suppose that is a possibility, right? So maybe that's, like maybe they've been healing from the connection with you in the past and just assuming that you've moved on when maybe you haven't. So I feel like that'd still be for a much smaller percentage of you, but I can technically see how that would fit into the storyline somewhat as well. All right, well, lastly, let's see what we get from the Wisdom of the Oracle deck. Same situation as far as I pre-shuffled this one as well, but here I'm just looking for one card with general advice to wrap the reading up with. All right, and this isn't going back in the deck already, so let's see what you got. Okay, we have Round and Round. Yeah, so maybe this has been going on for longer than I thought. There's the artwork, and the number is 25, so let's see what this has to say. Okay, the relationship message says, are you wondering, how did I get here again? Does something feel familiar right now in your dynamics with others? Maybe a little too familiar? Don't be surprised that you found yourself repeating an old story with the same sort of person, who may not look similar, but who attracted you because of who attracted you because of your easy acquaintance with his or her qualities. Your relationship is a mix of what is good and what is potentially challenging. You have been drawn to this person through the perfection of Spirit's plan for your evolution. You may have circled back to an accustomed spot, a familiar place, but that's fine, as you get to do things again, only differently this time, for you learned something of great value since the last time around. How will you choose to behave now that you're aware? Remain curious and stay out of the blame game. So yeah, definitely an interesting message there. So it could just be, if this isn't a repeat cycle with this person in particular, it could just feel like a similar scenario that you've been in before. And if that's the case, like I said, just be mindful of their energy. Like if it feels like you approach them and it feels like their energy just seems a bit off, I feel like that's because they could be healing from something totally separate. And if you give it a little bit of time as we get closer to Virgo season, which technically starts toward the end of August, so it could be as early as then, you guys will probably see them open up a bit more. All right, so hopefully that resonated with you guys. I'll wrap up there, and I'll see you all next month. All right, bye.